put it there.
This is live now.
We're live.
So we're going to see how long we're going to be live. Let's see how long we got to talk like real quick.
Right.
Get whatever
Real
we got to say. I know, like, oh my gosh. Hey, everybody. Hopefully, this is probably your third time joining us.
Three's a charm.
Yeah. People of Power show. Right now, we're praying for the Wi-Fi to keep us connected. But I am sitting next to Dr. We'll start this way. Maybe that was what happened. I started with you, and God said no. You got to start with the man first. So we're starting with Dr. Atterbury. Trying to give you that serious doctor face.
Hello, hello.
And now we have the lovely Dr. Jerisa Berry.
Hi.
They have blessed me because not too often do you get two board certified doctors in your midst. And when I say this, I mean these people went to school. They are certified. We are actually in their practice. Tell us what it's called.
Vital Care Medical Center.
And let us know if you have any problems hearing us, because like I said, we're fighting with this internet. Hey Anthony, hey Christopher, and we're also here. Well, they're here to answer any questions you may have. We don't really get this opportunity a lot. I know when you go to your doctor, you probably get maybe 10 minutes in and out. So they're here to answer your questions. And I just want to kind of do a background check a little bit, which I always do on my show. We're not going to go to when you started in elementary. Okay. But I know you for a while, but I want to know, how did you meet? Like, how do two doctors hook up? Was it in medical school? Who wants to answer?
In Chicago. Shout out.
Okay.
And we really met at a networking event. So it was kind of a mixer, you know, for progressive people in Chicago. And so we met there, introduced by one of my friends who may be watching. Hey, Angie.
Okay.
And then when we first met, it was just kind of bad timing, you know. So timing is everything. And then we met again a year later. And then it was just on and popping, y'all.
Literally. Yeah, literally on and popping.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but that's really rare, because I have couples. And let us know if you can give us a thumbs up if you can hear us, because I know we want to make sure that everybody can hear us. We do have the mic, but if we don't have to use the mic, we won't use it. So if you can give us thumbs up, hearts, to let us know that you can hear us. Hey, Chauncey. Hey, Larry Green. And again, if you have any questions for the doctors, please do not hesitate to type. I had a couple, but I'm scared to turn on my phone. Hey, Desiree, because I don't want to get us like booted off today. So we know how you all met. Now, just let everyone know, like right now, who wants to answer, where are we right now?
Currently in Green Acres, Florida. Yep. So pretty much Vital Care Medical Center in Green Acres, just about a half block south of Forest Hill on Jog. So just to be more specific, but.
Right, but we're in whose office though?
Oh, we're in. Oh.
Let me go over to the wife. Let me go over to the lady. She, he's trying to be all modest. We're in his house today.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so what do you offer here at Vital?
So we are minority owned, but of course we treat everybody, and we love that there's such a diverse population of patients here.
What's up, Greg? I see you over there.
Such a diverse.
He wants a little camera time, so we're gonna have to squeeze in. We're gonna squeeze a Charmin. I'm in the middle of two berries right now. Okay, come on, lovely lady. Okay, so what do you offer here?
We offer a little bit of everything. So we are, of course, primary care, internal medicine. We see patients 5 and up. We also, and that's everything. I mean, physicals, DOT, immigration, the typical, diabetes, physicals, cholesterol, everything. Family medicine, our internal medicine doc would do. Plus, we also offer. You can kind of see it above my head right there.
Look like some weed.
Dr. Jerisa up there. Some weed.
Oh gosh.
Cannabis.
We're certified in medical marijuana. We also offer pain treatment here. So we see a lot of patients now with our pain treatment machine. I'm so excited about that. Okay. And what else? What else? We offer so much.
Okay.
So much.
So can you kind of just elaborate a little bit of what's the difference in internal medicine than just your regular,
I guess overall, there's different types of primary care.
Okay.
Internal medicine just is really focused on medicine for an adult. So most likely 18 to 65 most of the time. And, really it's just kind of having to be a jack of all trades overall. I think the focus nowadays is more preventative care and primary care, and just kind of keeping patients out of the ER, Really, we focus on wellness and prevention, so cancer screening, really monitoring blood pressure, and just kind of internal organs, so internal medicine. So that's just a gist, I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you did mention, you said ER, right? ER?
ER.
She's the ER lady. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Dr. Jerisa Berry,
There.
when it comes to ER, like I see these shows, how did you learn how to stomach the things that you, because I know you see every,
Ooh, girl, yes.
everything.
Yes.
Listen, this is why she got this camouflage on, because she goes to war daily to save your lives. Yes. So a lot of times I think patients, I'm a hypochondriac. For people who don't know what a hypochondriac is, anything we think we're dying. We have a headache, it's an aneurysm. We have chest pains, it could be gas, but I'm having a heart attack. So Dr. Jerisa Berry will see me quite often when it's nothing. But I guess the good part about that is I would catch it if it's early. The bad part about that is my insurance is going to keep dinging me because I'm going. When is it important to go? Like, what signs say, look, this is a little more than what maybe I guess it should be or me to come? Because a lot of times you get people who, they'll die at home thinking, oh, it's just gas, or girl, I got a cold for 2 weeks, I'm just going to drink something out the, and it'll be okay, and then so it's that fine line. So I guess that's what I'm asking for the people that are watching. What are the warning signs that say maybe I need to go to the ER?
So that's always a tough question. Because that's a tough question because of the state of the world now with liability and malpractice issues. But we always say in the emergency room, and even when we're seeing patients here, if your symptoms are really severe. And
severe symptoms.
Your doctor cannot see you like that same day. Okay. Which a lot of times we can here at Vital Care. Then
quick plug. Okay.
Then, appointments. And if it's after hours, it's severe. You can't tolerate it. You've tried certain things, and if you have risk factors, so risk factors make the difference as well. Then you need to go to the emergency room. Okay. But otherwise, if you're able to see the doctor that same day, try that first. See if you can maybe even talk to the practice nurse. Then they can sometimes guide you if this is a condition for emergency room or urgent care. Sometimes even your insurance. There's nurses that are on the back of your insurance card. Sometimes insurances may want you to even try that nurse line first. And that can guide you too if this is something that's going to be worthy enough for you to go to the emergency room, or if it could wait for you to come see Dr. Berry at Vital Care.
So you mean you shouldn't go on WebMD?
WebMD or Google search or all that stuff like that. Not saying you shouldn't go on it. I think ultimately use it with a grain of salt. Everything, these days is all, we can go online, we find out more about it. But sometimes the biggest thing is, sometimes it spooks people out too much.
Oh, yeah.
So I always just kind of use it with a grain of salt. The other thing is, is a condition getting worse? Is it getting more frequent? Are you getting symptoms of, chest pain, palpitations, lightheadedness, dizziness, numbness, tingling? Those are kind of more worrisome signs, shortness of breath, versus like, oh, I feel a little bit tired and these things. But if it's getting more frequent and also more severe, those are all the other things you want to look for.
Hey, Cedric, the Right Fed. Hey, Trav. Cedric actually is a fitness trainer. And it's funny because it kind of helps me segue into that. People are so into like the health kicks now, and they go to the gyms and they work out, and they may be getting dehydrated. What are some of the symptoms that you see that people can prevent from or to doing it? Because I mean, hey, he said, hey, what's up? But I know a lot of people do that. They get maybe lightheaded, and they faint, or maybe they're not eating. Do you have any for people who are, I guess, starting the gym? Any advice so they won't end up in the ER, as so to speak?
Well, I think fatigue is one of these things where it could be a lot of different things. Fatigue or lightheadedness. A lot of times you can be anemic, especially most women who are having menstrual periods. That's one of the things that a lot of times is really common. That can cause a headache. You can have pains in the arms or legs. A lot of those kind of symptoms.
He likes the background.
Thank you. Likes the background.
Yeah, thank you, Cedric.
Oh,
this background, or
probably knowing him, it's probably the weed.
This one.
the hemp.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times dehydrated too. That's another one. I mean, I have a lot of people that come in. A lot of times, the reason why we get a urine sample is we can kind of test how well your kidneys are being hydrated. Your kidneys are really responsible for just ordering all your electrolytes. A lot of times all your cells within or without the cells need a balance of your electrolytes. And a lot of times your body's over, almost 80% water. So it's really important that you really actively hydrate yourself and don't end up with heat stroke or something like that and fall out while you're at church, while you're at the job, while you're waiting in line, all these things like that. So that's a really big part of it, is make sure you almost never have enough water.
Right.
Never have enough water almost. And so that's a really big thing. Just kind of keep that in mind. Water, not pop, not soda, water.
Right.
Okay.
And the weight loss phenomenon is so big. So, you know, I'm not sure, and I'm sure you've probably seen people who've maybe gotten over-the-counter weight loss drugs and it maybe sped up their heart or did something crazy. What message do you have? Because, I mean, when you go on Walgreens, you have a ton of weight loss supplements. And a lot of them do have warning labels. A lot of them might say FDA not approved, but we don't listen to that.
A lot of them aren't cheap, though. So that's a really big part of it. You go there and it'd be like $10, $20.
Right.
Okay, is there a money back guarantee?
But see, you all, if you come here,
we can do the EKG. You know, we can do
Yeah.
the labs and make sure that your electrolytes are okay and that you don't have high blood pressure, you don't have tachycardia or fast
Thyroid's
heartbeat. But
another one.
a lot of the times we will, do the EKG before we even start patients on a weight loss protocol.
Right.
so it's best to actually check with your physician first before you start any.
That would be a good idea.
I second the motion.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people just don't. They think, oh, it's something that simple. Or they do the what are those things that kind of keep you up at? I don't know what they're called. Like not the Red Bull, but there's other ones that kind of keep you up, and then they speed up your chest, and then you feel like you're dying.
Other like stimulants, you mean?
Right, to keep you up. Like right. So I just want people to know, because I know a lot of people that I'm not trying to call you out, but I know a lot of people on my timeline who are doing these things, and it's scary because sometimes it can send them into cardiac arrest, and there is no age limit on heart attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another good point is also family history. I think a lot of times we brush that to the side, but I mean, if I have a family member that had a heart attack, I don't know my daddy, or I could have had an uncle or brother that had a heart attack when they're in their 40s early. Sometimes definitely get screened to see if you have other heart conditions that put you at premature heart failure, heart attacks, or even death. So it's really important to definitely just get be seen by us at least once a year. We don't bite, so that's the biggest thing. And the hardest thing is to get men in. A lot of times men get in. I'm like, what brought you in?
Wait a minute. Let's focus on. Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. We need a man, because I put that on Facebook the other day. I'm like, men, get your berries checked. No pun intended. But I'm just saying, get your berries checked. And I had some men come on and jokingly say, oh, I don't. And we're gonna talk about this because I'm gonna keep it real. They don't want their stuff checked. They don't want their stuff played with. And
I think.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the procedure is.
Yeah. Well,
do you play with the stuff? I mean, what?
No.
Okay.
I don't play with no stuff. No,
okay, good.
No.
Okay,
but
please.
I think there's a big misconception about how screening used to be done in the past. And overall, a lot of times we can do a lot more with urine and blood sample versus having to do the rectal exams and all these things. So we've worked towards less invasive, and that's the biggest thing. That's a big misnomer. People feel like, oh man, I gotta get a rectal exam and all these things. I mean, it's more or less if you're having symptoms. Most of the time, we don't have to. But that's really the big thing. So there's a big misconception about what's needed now, and it's a big part.
And the good part is if you go early. You can prevent, because when it's in the stages that you can't prevent, somebody gonna be playing with your berries anyway, and you might not really want that. Hey Kanae, hey Anthony. Right. If you're just joining us, I am with Dr. Jerisa Berry, ER board certified physician. I love her statement. And I'm also with her husband, Dr. Adam Berry, and I'm actually in their house. They have their own facility. Clinic? Well, I mean, it's your workhouse, because sometimes you probably hear...
It's our medical center,
Yeah, you probably hear sometimes more than you're at home. I mean, it's sad to say that, and you're on call, so I don't, But if you have any questions, hey, Ronnie, hello, kings and queens. If you have any questions for the doctors, they are here.
Definitely.
I did have a couple of questions. I'm scared. I'm really scared to turn on my phone. So if you had a question and you typed it, just kind of please, let us know. But yeah, we want to get over to you. Dr. Jerisa Berry.
All right.
When someone heard that you was, because I don't call out names, they were like, why you say that? They heard you were coming.
Tracy.
They called you, hey,
Say
Tracy.
They say hi to hubby for
They
me.
say, oh, she's the fertility doctor. She said, so you are known as the fertility doctor. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on what you do for the fertility, so to speak?
Well, I am a fertility advocate. I am board certified in emergency medicine. I also do family medicine. But because of our own struggle to become parents, we decided that we wanted to do something where we could help other women, other couples that, may be having some difficulty conceiving, or some single women that are waiting, maybe wanting to freeze their eggs, things like that. And so we formulated Secure Fertility, secureyourfertility.com, where we help a lot of women know where they are on the biological clock, as well as kind of fertility coaching and consulting and the testing.
Don't forget about the app.
And so now that women, I noticed that the stars are like, everybody's looking at the stars, biological clocks. I mean, you have women 45, Janet 50. They're setting the bar up there for women that want to have their children later in life. Are they exceptions to the rule, or is that kind of a normal thing where I'm 42, so I can be like, okay, in 5 more years, girl, I got time. Well, I'm over that, but I'm just saying, if I didn't have kids, is that a norm that I could say, you know what, Janet Jackson did it, damn it, I'm going to have a baby when I'm 50.
That's a myth.
Okay.
I'm happy when celebrities like Gabrielle Union, Kim Kardashian,
Halle Berry
that are open to saying that they had help. They had help with IVF or freezing their eggs beforehand. Okay. So that way you freeze your eggs when you're 35, then when you're 50, if you have a normal uterus, then you could rely back on those eggs that you froze years earlier. Okay. But it's a myth to just think that, I'm 50, I'm 55, and it's going to be easy peasy. You want to start to think, even if you're 30, if you're 35, if you know that you're single and you're going to wait on motherhood, to consider freezing your eggs.
Okay, so we want to answer Desiree Footman's question. We're going over to the doctor. What do you think about the flu shot?
Overall, I'm a big advocate for the flu shot. This year was an exception where a lot of times, usually before flu season, they try to predict the most common strain and that's how they make their vaccine. That's what they figure out. This year was really atypical in a sense where the one they predicted was almost like one of the least common ones. So, therefore, some people that got it still got the flu, this, that, whatever. But most of the time, I'm a big advocate for it. And a lot of times, if you do, there's a big misconception about, oh, well, I had a friend, relative or something, they got the flu shot, and then they got the flu from the flu shot. Most likely, you probably already had some kind of either the virus or something kind of in you or be exposed to it. And now you just started developing the symptoms a few days later. Most likely that's what usually is the case. So definitely.
So you would do, you of course advocated, you would suggest it?
Yes, definitely.
Recommend it?
And also, just different conditions, especially like the pneumonia vaccine. Some people ask about that one. And especially there's certain medical conditions that put you at increased risk for pneumonia, and it can kill you. A lot of times people don't die, that's a really common thing that people die of. And that's something that can be preventable, especially if you're real bad like heart failure or, asthma, really bad COPD or obstructive pulmonary disease, those things. Definitely we recommend it. Or if you have a weakened immune system, those are other things when your body's natural ability to fight off infection just isn't as strong. So sometimes we'd recommend a pneumonia vaccine or, those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully Desiree, Dr. Berry answered your question, but I guess you said I've never gotten one. I've never gotten a flu shot. Never gotten a flu shot. I've been blessed, I guess, not to really get the flu. But I don't know. You hear so much, just like with vaccinations, you hear so much about. She said, "Thank you."
A big thing too is just kind of the time off from work. I think that's the biggest thing. Sometimes, depending on what you do, if you do have a job where you're your own boss, you're an entrepreneur, those things, a few days off work, that's a lot of money. I'm not paying my rent, I'm not feeding my kids, those type of things. So sometimes just even like 2-3 days can make a big difference. And if there's something we can do to minimize you having to take all that time off work, it definitely makes sense to do it.
I had a person, I remember the question, I don't know who wants to answer this. They asked about the HPV vaccination and your thoughts about that.
Okay.
Very good question. Very good question. Cervical cancer, which is what the HPV vaccine can help prevent, is yes. You know, if you have a daughter or a son, you know, it's good for boys as well. Okay, it's essential for you to consider having that HPV vaccine, and most of the time, insurances will cover it. Okay, cervical cancer is near and dear to me because we do have someone that we lost due to cervical cancer, not getting the pap smears, and so HPV is very common. It's a common sexually transmitted disease or virus, and you know you may not know that you have it. And if you get the vaccine, when you have to get the vaccine before you're like 24, okay, like 23, 24. So you know if you're beyond that age, then you can't get it. And there's 2 to 3 cycles you have to get. Like it's a series. So it's not just one shot. You have to get 2 to 3 within a period of 2 to 3 years. So, but again, most insurances do cover it, and it can help prevent cervical cancer. So, I don't know what the exact question was. But
it was actually got it. She said, "Why are pediatricians pushing for our daughters to get the HPV vaccine?" Maybe that's why.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that had okay. How do you feel about GMOs? Do you have an opinion about GMOs as being a doctor? That was one of the questions.
GMOs.
Genetically modified.
Yeah, food. I think it's sometimes with the food.
Oh.
Like organic, non-organic.
Yeah. Ultimately, I just think that trying to do more natural things is always just the best way to go. A lot of times, people are concerned about all these new allergies that are forming and autism and all these things that, is this from more our diet or is it more things they're putting in the foods, additives to make them preserve longer. So those are some of the things they try to do different trials or different testing to see if there's a link there. And right now it's I think additional testing is important, but I say overall just all natural is just a better way to go. I always say like if it can spoil that's better for you than something that has a longer shelf life. So I think those are kind of the main things I would say overall that I would say we should give our kids as well as us.
Okay, so the next question is, what is your outlook on hemp, CBD oil, for ADHD or attention deficit symptoms?
Okay, well definitely I'm a big advocate for medical marijuana or just marijuana overall in the sense of one, our body shares a lot of the same receptors. So THC and CBD, those are 2 main receptors out of many receptors in the cannabis plant, and our body already has those in our skin and our GI tract and our central nervous system. Therefore, that's why I can treat different skin conditions, upset stomach. People have different irritable bowel disease, these different things of that nature, or even
so
chronic
I can smoke
pain.
weed for my acne. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes certain like resistant conditions. A lot of times, that either one, the topical medications are either too strong, you have sensitive skin, or those kind of things. A lot of times, the topical formulations is what we would recommend. But ultimately, in terms of attention and also anxiety and all that stuff like that, especially more the indica strains kind of help with relaxation. That's why a lot of times we recommend those more so at night. And then the CBD oil, a lot of times, it's probably more effective for joint pains, especially we call it the non-axial skeleton, meaning just kind of like, the knees, the shoulders, the wrists, the hands. Not as much, it's not as good for, axial pain. So that's going to be more like a neck or back, spinal pain more so. Like if I got herniated disc, spinal stenosis, those things. But the CBD oil is also just better. I got some people that really get a lot of relief just from that alone versus some of the medications. The other thing is a lot of medications, there's a lot of side effects. Some patients always say either the medication doesn't work or they have so many side effects. So they're like, okay, is the medication treating the side effect? The side effect? They don't really know. So ultimately, and you never hear somebody overdosing from, all natural plant. A lot of times it's these opioids and medications and stuff like that. So I'm a big fan of the fact that it's also all natural. I mean, this is a plant that's been studied for over 300 years. It's proven to treat all kinds of conditions. Why? Because our body already shares the same receptors that are in the, cannabis plant.
Oh, Trinette Morris, I take CBD daily.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Trinette,
so who qualifies for that? I mean, can anyone get it, or how does that work?
Well, CBD oil a lot of times doesn't require prescription. I mean, sometimes you can find it at different gas stations and these things and online, but a lot of times the potency and the quality is what's going to vary. Like if you go to our website, actually we have a direct link to CBD oil that has a 90-day money-back guarantee, CBD Pure. www.yourthcdoc.com. And that's one of the ways you can actually, look in the product, actually get delivered to your home, all that good stuff. So
how long does it usually take for you to start feeling the results from the?
Yeah, usually within minutes. I mean, a lot of times the whole thing is depending on.
Hey, Joe Taylor. These are what's up, good people. Dr. Taylor.
Oh, what's up, Joe? What's going on, Doc? But basically, the whole thing is also how fast is it getting your bloodstream. So a topical, gets in, relatively quicker. Topical inhalation. So a lot of times a vape pen, as well as.
She needs to get the website.
Okay. Yeah, www.yourthcdoc.com.
yourthcdoc.com.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about live too is if we don't we'll be able to go back because I'm going to tag you all so you can go back and read some of the questions if you don't, and then you can type them individually for that in Green Roads.
Green Roads, yeah. Shout out to Green Roads as well.
Okay.
It definitely they have a lot of products that work really well, and they're also really good quality. I think that's a big thing. I mean, a lot of times people always want to be like, you want to look, can I get on Amazon? Can I get a deal? Can I get 2 for 1? A lot of times you get what you pay for. And, ultimately there's things that have higher quality that offer a money back guarantee. So what do you have to lose? Just deal with pain, deal with anxiety, deal with whatever condition you're dealing with, or, might as well try it. The worst thing, you have is it may not really work as well for you.
Okay. And if you're just joining us, just because sometimes people just pop in, we are sitting with the doctors, Dr. Jerisa Bear, ER. We're going to forget about you. I'm going to come back to you in a minute. And Dr. Adam Bear, ER. So if you have any questions for the doctors, they are here with us for an hour, and they're here. But I wanted to say something because I know with your particular practice, you have inside lab, right? You do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's to me that's really important. This product. Does this product help with anxiety? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, it does. I mean, definitely helps with anxiety, and just kind of getting back to it. So anything that you swallow, like you just got to get in your GI tract takes about 30 minutes to an hour to get in your bloodstream. So that's why, for example, it takes that long to start having the effect, and it lasts as long as it lasts. But inhalation, sublingual, or even topical, a lot of times gets in your body quicker, and it usually lasts a good 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on what it is and the potency. So I should just kind of answer that. But it's also really good for anxiety, though. Definitely.
Okay, so if you're nervous, you better get some
anxiety, attention, all those things. Insomnia.
Wonderful. I'm going to check this out. Okay.
I can't sleep.
Now,
yes.
Your video came up about a couple of days ago. It was one of those, memory videos, and we talked about constipation. You need to talk a little bit more about that, because a lot of people are not pooping regularly, and I don't people not pooping regularly.
Okay, all right.
I mean, when they say, that person's full of, they really are full of.
Right.
So, so silly.
It's true.
So, I'm sure you see it a lot, especially maybe in the ER, because that's a big one. Like, literally, people, if they're like backed up, that's your back is hurting, your sides are hurting.
You got abdominal pain.
It's a bad situation.
You
can't eat. You full. Right. So can you give us a little guidance? Because I remember your video. You gave us a little tips. But for the people who just can't poop, hey Charles, I hope you're not one of those people that just can't poop because you turn in the right time. But people who just can't poop, can you help us out?
Oh yeah, so there's help. I remember that video.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, so you have to examine what's what are you doing? Are you lacking, like we mentioned earlier? Are you lacking water? Okay.
Okay.
Are you lacking
Lord.
fiber?
Fiber.
Okay.
Is that like a Metamucil or
fiber in your diet first?
Okay,
diet. What are you eating?
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about GMOs a little bit. So are you eating vegetables first? Or are you just eating fried food? So it's really
Fried
what
food,
you're eating. Are
fast
you
food,
getting
yep.
the fruits and vegetables that you really need, that kind of natural fiber? Or yes, you may have to supplement.
Okay.
You can supplement with the over-the-counter medications. But a lot of times, as I mentioned then, you don't want to just increase the fiber without increasing the water. So some people do that, like, oh my gosh, I gotta have more fiber. I gotta have more fiber, and so they do all that, and then they still forget the water.
And
How much water do you drink? How much water do you drink, Kitty?
Just put me on the spot.
Yes, I did.
How much water you drink?
My water and my ice cubes. Listen.
How much water you drink?
I actually know. I really do need to drink more water. I really do. I know I really do. And I drink coffee, and I really do. And I'm gonna get back to me in a minute, because I'm here for my people. There's a lot of people out here.
See, what happened was
exactly.
Right.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is a symptom that people ignore. Like I'm full. I get full quick.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize the colon is so long. I mean, a lot of times you think you like, people say they're pooping every day, but they could poop every day and still be like, how does really?
Oh, child.
Well, but
No, but yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised how much the colon can really absorb, and even some of the latter part of the small intestine as well. So that's the thing about it. But a lot of times, if you start having abdominal pain, sometimes nausea, back pain, those are a lot of times those symptoms, or have to do a lot of straining. You feel like you got to go. You're so full, but nothing really comes out. Also, the caliber of your stool too is one of the things that you should also look for.
In other words, if it looks like a pebble,
pebble or stringy, those are also more worrisome signs versus. Yeah, or blood in the stool, other things like that.
And that could be hemorrhoids. Right?
Yeah, it could be hemorrhoids too. So but blood in the stool is not always like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. So just keep that in mind. If it's the type of thing where it gets, it usually resolves over a day or two. But the biggest thing is, a lot of times you're finding more strain. You're straining with your stools, that kind of thing. That's usually when you need to drink a lot more water, more fiber in the diet, and a lot of times, the hemorrhoids get better.
And it's still March. March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
So if you're a minority and you are 40 and up, male, black men, Hispanic men, if you are a minority and you're age 40, men, you need to get a colonoscopy.
Yep.
Okay?
Wow.
Dr. Berry actually just, thankfully, I'm so happy, I'm
Had
so
one.
proud, had a patient that
month.
came in with screening, just no symptoms whatsoever, but had a screening colonoscopy. And because of that, ordered by Dr. Berry, they did find a mass in his colon, okay? And he was able to have that removed. So if you are a male 40 and up, someone, they need to have a colonoscopy. Women 45 and up, if you're a minority, get the colonoscopy.
Right.
Yeah, and I actually lost a fellow photographer on Facebook, and he was on a cruise, and he was eating a lot on the cruise. I've never been on a cruise, but he eat a lot on the cruise, and he was, he thought he was constipated. He went to the bathroom, he saw a little blood, and he was having real bad pains. Well, anyway, fast forward, when he got off the ship, he went to the hospital. Stage 4 cancer. He died.
Yep.
He
Colon
died.
cancer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He died maybe about a year and a half later. But I mean, it just came out the blue. Like, you go from normal to having stage 4.
Yeah.
And that's why preventive medicine, all the screening, the annual visits, get it. Don't ignore, don't say, well, you know what, I feel fine. There are some screening tests that you should be having.
Yeah, and probably also depending on where in the colon is. If it's more in the earlier part of the right side, a lot of times you have less symptoms. But if it's more in the left side, you have more obstructive symptoms, and it'll be found in an earlier stage. So that's the worrisome part is the right side colon cancer. A lot of times you may not have as many symptoms before it already advanced at a later stage.
And I put a Facebook post up before about blood work.
Yeah.
When people get, just say normal blood work, I guess they have what they call normal blood work. Can you screen cancer in normal blood work? Or if something comes up that may say, hey, we may need to do further testing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always, not specific. Sometimes you may get like a cell blood count. I can look at maybe your white blood cell count, may look a little abnormal or something.
Okay.
But nothing otherwise. If not, you can't really screen with blood work. The only thing is probably you can do it like stool test or even like a hemocult or some like also a fecal histochemical test as well. And that's just once a year. But the problem is if that comes back abnormal, then you still got to get colonoscopy anyway.
Right.
And a big misconception too, colonoscopy is not a painful procedure at all. The painful part is the prep. I had it last month, so I can talk about it. My wife can talk about it.
You have one too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. So, and that's the biggest thing. I think I'm very big. I think we're all very big about just practicing what we preach. I'm a man. I also I know have like manly, all these things, but at the same time, everything that I recommend for my patients, I hold myself to the same standard and accountability. So that's the biggest thing, and it's all about saving lives. I mean, I was really happy that I was able to find that in this gentleman who has some risk factors there, and I'm like, you know what, let's definitely let's get a colon screening. I'm glad he just jumped on board and wasn't like, oh, I don't know, and I don't, all these things, and just go for it. I mean, what do you have to lose? So that's really the biggest thing.
Everything you gain, like your life, you can save your life. Now, you were saying something about the cancer screening.
The cardiac markers. So with the blood test, the cancer markers.
I have a CA-125.
Yeah. A lot of times, for ovaries, but a lot of times the insurances may or may not cover it. Yeah. So there still has to be some sort of complaint or issue that the doctor can document as to why they're ordering that blood test. Okay.
It makes you almost want, I'm gonna be real, it makes you almost want to lie about your history. Be like, listen, my mom got everything, my daddy got everything. I need y'all to test me because just like within breast cancer, they say, okay, 40 and up, you get your first mammogram. But we got women dying who are like in their 20s from breast cancer. Yeah. And it's like, and I mean, I haven't had anyone personally, but I hear these stories like, what are the signs other than the lumps? Or is it any other
signs?
What?
How many women actually do check their breasts every month?
How many women you checking your boobies, ladies?
You know what? It's a lot of women, even if we see that don't do that. Every month we really should check our breasts. Otherwise the doctor does it once a year, but really just pick a date. Pick a date. First of the month, and then really just start with yourself. That's something you have to do.
And that's laying flat on the back,
arm up.
She said, "Thanks for this live. I'm sharing. Yeah, sharing because it can save your life. Right, arm up, and just feel all over.
Around. Yes. And
then have your man play doctor with you if he want to be home freaky. Let him check. You can do something. But yeah, you got to. You're right. You have to. And some women, I hear some women have what they call lumpy breasts. So. You ever heard of that? Like
you can have fibroadenomas. Oh wow! Well. So if you have a lumpy breast, most of the time it's benign cysts. Okay, but the only way you're going to know that is if you go get an ultrasound. Okay, or a biopsy. They can do a biopsy of those, and just to make sure that they are fibroadenomas.
Wow.
Yeah. But you mentioned the ovarian cancer. The CA-125. That's also important, but sometimes insurance may or may not cover it. But I like that test.
Well, I have PCOS, and I know a lot of people because it's so funny because when you're going through something medically, you got my friends calling me. I be like, "Girl, I see you gained weight, or your face got break." I'm like, "Well, that's unfortunately those are signs of the PCOS." And I have my heart goes out to people with lupus because as a makeup artist too, I have some customers that have lupus and their face scars. And I don't know, a lot of people talk about Trick Daddy and they make fun of him, but that's a serious issue when your face is pretty much, it's deteriorating. And it's hard for people to even move forward sometimes in life. So I'm a firm advocate. Listen, as chubby as I may get, I'm going to lose it, but I'm not going to let it stop me because, we have these medical issues, but there are things that can cure that. Like lupus is a big thing now. Yeah. And people are finding out later, and I'm like... Go ahead.
Spoken well, Gloria Gaynor. She will survive.
I will. Yes. Listen, I will survive.
Best believe.
But but a lot of people, I guess maybe we're getting more health conscious as people because now you're hearing more talks about, like the lupus, and you're hearing more talks about PCOS, and like these are things that no one talked about because we have women who have facial hair. That's a big one. As a makeup artist, I see it a lot. I see it on skinny women, heavy women, but more women now are getting like facial hair and acne, and it's I don't know if is it the food, I don't know, where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are getting it now.
I think the biggest thing too is for people to not ignore the symptoms. Like you mentioned about lupus and it being perhaps found later, but you know, a lot of times there's symptoms. You know, don't ignore the joint pain. You know, don't just take Tylenol every day and not get it evaluated.
Yeah.
You know, so early evaluation, not ignoring the symptoms that you have, can help get a timely diagnosis.
And there's a specific test for lupus, like blood tests?
Yeah,
yes.
blood tests.
Most of the conditions that affect the immune system, and that's basically what it is. It's a
Nicole Russell, another doctor. Hey, Dr. Russell.
Hey. Are autoimmune, basically when the body attacks itself. A lot of times, most of these tests are usually diagnosis of exclusion, meaning usually there's a test that we a sensitivity test that kind of say, okay, this person's increased risk for it, and there's more of a definitive test to say, like, okay, if this is positive, then if both of these tests are positive, then more like a lot more so, 99% more so, sure that's what the diagnosis is. But a lot of times, we look for, a lot of these most of these autoimmune conditions can cause either local inflammation or they can systemic. So you might have just, issues somewhere in like your left knee or something more localized versus all over. So I have in the joints, I have skin manifestations, I have those kind of things. So that's the biggest thing. And so, for example, fatigue, just that simple. I could be fatigued from, okay, I got, my kid, my kids keep them up at night. I'm not really getting good sleep. Maybe I had something in the family where, a loved one passed away, so I'm not getting good sleep. Or, I'm just not, fatigue is very vague, but there's so many things could cause it. That could be, anemia. You could be having an autoimmune condition or something. So that's why it's so important just to get tested at least once a year. We can look at your blood count, look at those things. And a lot of times with the basic blood and urine testing that we do, we can kind of see, we should do like an autoimmune workup where we look for those kind of things, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus. And a lot of times, just because you have that too, it's not the end of the world. Look at all these entertainers, Tony Braxton, you talk about like Trick Daddy, all these things.
MS too. That's
right, and that's MS Tamia. So it's not the end of the world. A lot of times you may have even more of a local, not cause, but local versus systemic. That's the thing about it. In terms of severity. That's the biggest thing. So. Yeah.
Okay. Another thing I want to talk about, because a lot of people are not talking about this. We talked about this, but like way back, we had campaigns, or when we were talking about STDs. That. I don't know why the media has not been really campaigning, because we used to see a lot of the HIV, the AIDS campaigns, and now it's like nobody talks about it. And I'm not sure it's because maybe
condoms is going down.
Their medication.
A lot of people are not using condoms anymore.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that's something I was watching something. That's one of the things they were saying. The condom use overall. And I'm not sure if it was like specific ages, but overall, people aren't using condoms as much as they were. Like it's been a decline in that. And I'm like, ooh, that's not good. So, yeah.
But yeah, we were talking about like the HIV rate and herpes. I keep hearing this is on the rise. Do you see a lot of that like in the ER, that people just don't know, or maybe I don't know if they maybe act like they don't know, maybe, or surprised, but
we see a lot in the ER of STDs in general. So we do see a lot of gonorrhea, chlamydia, a lot of discharge. Some herpes, yes. What we always tell patients too is, and it's interesting that patients have a denial with this, because if anytime you have unprotected intercourse with a new partner, you're not still immune from even HIV. So we have patients come in with a discharge, and they're diagnosed with gonorrhea, chlamydia, trichomonas, whatever, even in herpes. But you tell them, well, you know what, you should still go get tested for HIV, and they're like, no, not me. I wouldn't have HIV. So it's a lot of HIV here, and it's like you can, I'm okay if I get gonorrhea, chlamydia, but I'm not gonna have HIV for this person.
Pick the STD of your choice, right?
You have a lot of people that unfortunately do not know that they have HIV, and it's very sad.
But look at Magic. I mean, he had HIV, and he fine. But a lot of times, it's a misconception.
Right. I think that's what's going on is the
medications are getting so good that a lot of people are living much longer with it.
But the key to that is not that, like we talked about other conditions, that it's not the end of the world, but early knowledge that you have this, can help decrease the viral load, because that's what Magic did. Once he found out that he had HIV early, he was able to start the treatment early, so that way it decreased his viral load. So don't be in denial, get tested so that way you can start the treatment earlier.
And a lot of men, unfortunately, they get tested through their other half. The other half comes home and she got her blood work. Oh, I'm good because she's good. I see that a lot, and I'm like, you can't go by because your baby mama test results came back right that you okay, because you can have something. Because there are people that I hear that, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some people they say that are carriers, and then there are people that are not. Like, it's like weird. Like, you can have, let's say a man that has sex with 3 women, 2 of them get it and 1 doesn't. So is that, can that happen?
Everybody, everyone has a different immune system.
Okay.
So, even with HPV, same thing. There's your immune system might be able to fight that. We have some patients that are, HIV, they're on HIV medication. They have a lower viral load than the same exact person their age and makeup, but because their immune system is, more developed, they're eating right, they're exercising, they have less stress, their body is able to fight it. So not everyone, it's not 100%. It's like, if someone gets the flu, if all 3 of us have, if you 2 have the flu, I might not get the flu. So
the other thing to point out to the urethra, that's the actual anatomical, organ in terms of the length. That's the end of the urinary tract in men and women. Women it's a lot shorter, therefore that's why they're more risk for, urinary tract infections, but also to actually have more symptoms from sexually transmitted disease.
Now, is UTI a sexually transmitted disease? Because that's a myth.
No. No. The whole thing is our whole body has bacteria that live all over it, right?
You get a UTI from sex.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Mostly like staph and strep on our skin, but also there's certain bacteria that live more so on more the outside of our genital urinary tract. Okay. And a lot of times that's what it is that those bacteria then colonize that back up. They got a shorter distance to travel, and that's why a lot of times women are more risk for urinary tract infections more so than men.
They're not wiping good either.
After sex.
Because of that.
Yes. Another thing is too.
They say pee after you have sex. I used to hear that. Yeah.
And also,
they say pee after. So pee after you have sex, if you can still get up.
Yeah, a lot of times women also hold their urine more. A lot of times, I don't want to go to the bathroom because it's I'm not really in a clean area. I don't want to go to a public restroom and all those things. Or take time off work, or sometimes certain types of employment. I'm a truck driver or something, they can't pee. So they hold their urine. So it puts you at more increased risk for a urinary tract infection that way too. So those are just some other things that we kind of see.
And drinking water and cranberry juice can help prevent it?
Well, drinking water, the cranberry juice is kind of plus minus, 6 on one hand, half dozen other. But definitely, water is a key thing, because the whole thing is the more you're drinking, the more you're urinating, the more it's harder for that bacteria to basically go up against the urinary tract and cause an infection in the bladder or even further up. Yeah.
Hey, Lolly. Hey, Mayor Thomas Masters. Hey, Janice. Again, I'm sitting with the doctors. We won't be here too much longer, but, we want to get some questions answered about medical health, and definitely support these 2, because it's not, I hate to say it because I don't want to, when people sound like I'm pro-black, I'm anti-white, but I'm not. But it's not that many times that you see, it's not that many times that you see African-American doctors. When I was growing up, let me tell you, my doctors were either white or they were Indian. Those are the only 2 that I had. So when you see black doctors, you're like, oh my God, they do exist. Do you get that a lot as far as being a black doctor? Like, or do you feel like you have to prove yourself more being African American?
Yeah, anybody in healthcare, you already know we have to work twice as hard for our patients. Hey, what's up, Karina? Twice as hard for our patients to prove that we're just as good, if not better, than our non-minority colleagues. I mean, so it's like it's so sad that instead of like, I'm gonna go to a black doctor because they'll more understand, even they're from areas where I'm at, urban areas, those things, and they kind of understand the different things that you deal with. some of the stress you have go on can affect your blood pressure.
We must support our own.
Yeah, we definitely support our own, but that's the biggest thing. I mean, a lot of times, ideally, you want to find. I mean, that's when I had a few brothers actually approach me like, man, it's nice. I can be myself. I can, and that's really, I'm really big about just being yourself. That's why a lot of times I don't really wear a white coat, because I want you to feel comfortable. I want you to feel relaxed. I don't want you to feel like, oh, I can't really be myself, and because that's ultimately, you want to have that relationship where you can just be yourself. We can joke around, but also we be serious. We hold each other accountable, and every time you leave my office, you will learn something. I really love to educate, and also that's one of my missions, and actually something I'm very passionate about is really men's health, and just promoting that, and just once a year, men and women, just get a checkup. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything, and if anything, we can catch things at an earlier stage. Just like, for example, diabetes. I did a Facebook Live on that, and a lot of times, these little symptoms and all these things we try to hold. Well, I'm still living. Oh, it kind of went away and all that stuff. Well, if you got checked early, you could prevent it from having overt diabetes. So. These are just kind of things that.
Why does soul food have to be so good?
I know.
That's what's giving us the diabetes.
The crack, what, they got something in it?
I mean, it's like the sweet tea is like syrup, and the macaroni and cheese and the collard. Well, not the collard. Well, we put fat back in the collard. We can't make nothing healthy. Lord Jesus, help our people. And we putting sugar in the cabbage. I mean,
brown sugar.
we gotta just I don't know. But that's another thing. I don't know if you noticed. Like, a lot of people are getting heavier. It's like it's a norm now. When you used to look back, especially when women's sizes were, they said the norm is like 14.
Now,
wow.
14, 16. Yeah. That's like a norm. And it's scary, because it's like, is it in the food? Is it, what are we doing? Are we doing less? Because I know the kids are getting less exercise.
Less activity.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a big
activity.
One.
The kids, child obesity, you mean?
Children, adults, as you get old, women, there's less estrogen, okay? So estrogen can help break down the fat, so you don't have that, or you have less of that. And so because you have less of that, you're collecting fat, right? You're not able to metabolize it, and then you're not working out because you're busy. You got to take the kids here, groceries, so we find so many other things to do other than that 20-30 minute workout. 2 to 3 times.
We get that thumb workout for the remote. thumb workout.
Also, there's so many more, I guess, kind of fast food options now. They can deliver to your house.
Yeah, I heard they got Uber drivers delivering
all these things, and so they didn't have that back in the day. So now it's like we're eating more fast food, more kind of fried food, just bad options. Not as much fresh food, fresh fruits and vegetables, those kind of things. And so as we get older, our metabolism slowing down now, and then also add on to a stress. I got a stressful job, or I'm dealing with a stressful situation. You're retaining cortisol. Cortisol is going to make you retain those calories
I got a lot of
day.
I think
instead of burn.
They got anti-cortisol like medication.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy.
Oh, okay, so since we're talking about that real quick, because I know a big trend is detoxing. Everybody and their mama is detoxing, whether it's tea, whether it's supplements. They did the big detox was with Beyonce with the lemon cayenne water and whatever for 10 days, and they're gonna fall out because you gotta eat. But is there any safe, or maybe places that you recommend that is a true detox for us to start cleansing the body out, the kidneys, the liver? Is it? Do you have a supplement here that you sell?
Well,
trying to plug.
There are some companies that that we do recommend. One being Uscriptives. They have really good supplements, and you always have to be careful of where you get your supplements from. But there are a lot of herbal places, herbal stores where you can get quality supplements from. But yes, detoxing is good. You don't have to detox all the time, but certainly everything with moderation and usually under the care of a physician.
And that's why I'm asking physicians, because let me tell you, you go out there and get lost. I mean, there's so many detox on the shelf, and it's like, one will do this, one for 7 days, one for 3 days, one for the kidney, one for the colon, and it's like you got to take 20 pills, and it's like and 20 pills with an 8-ounce glass of water.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then the next day go back to eating McDonald's.
Hey Corey,
What
hey
up,
Corey near you. He had a good interview yesterday. So we're here with the doctors, and again, we're gonna do like a tour around the facility too, because I wanted people to kind of see.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Y'all cleaned up, right?
Yeah, it's all clean.
Yeah, you gotta ask me.
Clean up. Clean up those.
But if you have any questions, please just take the time out. Another thing too, I want to say, because I lost a good friend in aneurysm. So are you seeing that more now? It seems like a lot of people are not. Well, I say a lot of people, but I know about 3 or 4 people within the past couple of years die from that, and it's like it comes out of the blue. There are no signs, there are no symptoms. Is there anything that can prevent them?
Brain or abdominal?
Brain.
Yeah.
Brain.
Okay. I would say one of the things is also family history. A lot of times, just as any African American or African heritage person ultimately has a salt insensitivity that we've done testing and not sure why. So you can have a white person, just Caucasian, and also a black person, same weight, same height, eat the same food, all that stuff like that, same activity level, and for some reason, the person of color has, just a more salt sensitivity, and so that's the thing about it. So that's why it's so important, the blood pressure, to make sure we keep our blood pressure checked. Don't avoid those signs of either numbness, tingling in hands or feet, headache, dizziness, visual symptoms, chest pain, all of those kind of conditions, because it could be a preventable condition. Unfortunately, some things aren't, but those are some of the warning signs that definitely you can prevent. Something related to blood pressure.
Can you reverse high blood pressure?
I'm glad you brought up blood pressure because, and especially
a lot of people.
In many communities, but a lot of times in African American community, like Dr. Barry said, we do suffer, from high blood pressure, and some people can ignore it. They say, "Oh, my blood pressure is 150 over 90, and it's that way for so many days."
Jesus.
And,
that's high.
And that's high. That's high, but they ignore that. And so you ignore that for days and days and days, and then then it becomes a problem, and you can have a berry aneurysm or other conditions that develop from uncontrolled blood pressure and ignoring it.
Yeah, the biggest thing too, your body tries to fix itself. You're so busy, your body's like, oh, you got so much things you got to worry about. Oh, let me not bother you. Let me just try to handle this. So the body starts trying to fix itself, but a lot of times it fixes itself in the wrong way. So you start having more resistance the heart has to pump against. You start having heart failure, or you start having a narrowing of blood flow to the brain. That's what causes stroke. You can start having less blood flow to even your extremities, or even your organ down there, and start having erectile dysfunction problems, with all those kind of things too. So even a lot of those different conditions can be prevented, and sometimes those are signs that, hey, maybe let me treat this blood pressure, treat those kind of things. Because a lot of times you're not getting good flow through your main vessels. So
have you ever seen patients reverse themselves out of high blood pressure medication?
Yes, most of the time, a lot of times we can monitor that, with it. And especially I have patients, for example, I start seeing, they start being more active, start making healthier options when it comes to, eating. And a lot of times we can monitor that, and we can lower the dose and even just kind of go off of, just diet control. And even same with diabetes.
Yeah. Okay, I know that was a big one. Because like my mom, they have like Lipopicil and all these different medications. And if it's hereditary, it's a lot harder though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. I mean, and a lot of times you can't just go by age. Sometimes I have patients that come in, they'd be like young, 15, 16, 18, and have really high blood pressure. And a lot of times it's, family history. So those are really the 3 main things. It's family history, also your activity level, and then also your diet. And of those 2, of the 3, 2 you can control. And a lot of times that's a big thing that I, advocate and also educate my patients on, is that. And sometimes you may just have, something outside your control in terms of your, genes in that regard. And so a lot, it's more important to decrease the risk of heart attack or stroke and take a medication, because sometimes it's out of your control. Even if you eat healthy and those things, but definitely don't listen to the warning signs of your body trying to give you.
Yeah, and I had Demetrius McCrae. He said he was going to check in, but he was a stroke victim, and he he basically bounced back like 100%. It was something that you said about the brain, how it kind of starts to remember the things that you use. That's like amazing. That you can be so, because he couldn't even like do a straw. He couldn't even tear a straw. And he said he draws. So I know he said he was going to check in later, but I just wanted to mention him because he had remembered what you said, how the brain kind of comes back and kind of remembers things. So, you know, we're trying to save people's lives here. You know, it's a lot to cover, of course, being medical, but let's just give people before we do a quick tour, where you're located again.
We are located 2188 Jog Road. That's in Green Acres, just a little south of the Jog and Forest Hill intersection. Our staff is here, amazing. Dr. Berry, we have nurse practitioners, and we're gonna treat you like family, as well as take care of your conditions. So.
And you have an in-house lab, which is really important, because that means you don't have to go out to LabCorp and Quest, because that's a whole nother time off my job. I don't have time for.
Yeah, we do labs here. We do blood work, allergy testing, ultrasound testing, stroke prevention. We do pain treatment, medical marijuana. So we do it all.
I think you had him at medical marijuana. That's it. So when you say ultrasound treatment, that can kind of like just look at all the stuff internally that you don't.
Yeah, we do ultrasound testing, whether it's carotid or abdominal aneurysms.
Or B12 shots.
B12 shots. What is that?
B12 shots as well.
That's the energy shot?
Yeah, basically vitamin, B6, B1, B12. A lot of times those are different vitamins that help to generate energy. And a lot of times those are, especially if they're fat soluble, especially B12, that's why a lot of times you can't just take a pill for it. It's got to be intramuscular to really kind of get in your system and kind of help make new red blood cells and help you feel more, get better energy.
And how
all
often
stuff.
do you normally take those?
Yeah, it can vary. I mean, a lot of times when you get a B12 shot, you should feel it that day pretty immediately, and it can last a week or two. Those kind of things. There's not really like too many. Sometimes one patient asked me, "Oh, can I get it too many times?" Not really. I mean, a lot of times, you can get it once a week. You can get it once a month. But that's the biggest thing. But the one thing though, also look at instead of just like let's treat you for some condition. Let's try to see what's the cause. Could there be something else that's going on that's giving you the fatigue and tiredness? What if your thyroid level's low? Exactly. So those are the biggest things that we always recommend, at least the physical, at least looking at that first, versus just like going on Google, oh, let me get this, child, let me try this,
So for a new patient, when I expect to walk in, I basically will get my blood work, right? So you do the ears, nose, throat, okay.
Yeah.
Blood work is so important. I mean, a lot of doctors sometimes look over that. They kind of just look at the vitals and look in your ears and your throat and like, okay, you're good, but you gotta know what's going on.
I get it sometimes too. They either had their previous doctor, they're here, first time visit to establish care, and they saw a specialist. Maybe I saw my gynecologist or OB, and she ordered some blood work. But a lot of times they're going to only order specific blood work. We'll be more comprehensive, and a lot of things, for example, like did they check your vitamin D level? Those kind of things that could interact on a lot of different organ systems, and that's something that can be screenable, especially decreased risk for bone fractures, osteoporosis, osteopenia, those kind of things. So I mean that's the biggest thing. So that's why usually we try to get a nice, good, fresh set of labs, fasting labs most likely, and then we have a baseline for if something's abnormal in the future. Well, we have a reference point, so therefore we know. Oh, okay, you know what? Back in it was this level. And now this is where we're at. So it just makes it easier overall, in just managing patient.
And I'm going to go on the admin side here. Insurances. What do you take and what do you not take?
We take pretty much all insurances.
Okay.
We also see a lot of patients that do not have insurance, and that's actually what we're also passionate about is that we purchase this and we're able to just transfer that blessing and lower our prices, lower the prices to see a doctor, lower the prices to get blood work for people that do not have insurance. But yes, insurances, we pretty much accept everything. Blue Cross, all the commercials. We also accept Medicaid, Medicare, Sunshine, Molina, and Better.
Yeah. Probably the only one that's not like Obamacare. That's the only one we don't accept.
We do accept Molina Obamacare.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but That's really the only
Yep.
one. But all all insurances, and even we have a really low self-pay rate. It's only $65 to see a doctor if you do not have insurance. That's better than $100 at the urgent care. And we also do on-site, testing and blood work.
On-site, okay. And what are your hours?
We are here 8:30 to 5:30, and Tuesdays we're here 10 to 7.
Okay, so you do have a late day. So just want to let everybody know that and you might see her in the ER. Hopefully you won't, but because you may see her.
Yeah, and also soon we're gonna, a lot of times for patients who, for example, who can't get off work or have those jobs, hey, if I don't go to work, they're like, don't return. So a lot of times we're also, beside Tuesday being late day, we're also gonna start offering, some Saturday hours as well to try to get those patients in. So that's one of the things that, definitely, we always try to listen to the public, listen to, just the needs of our patients and make those changes as needed.
Okay. Yeah. And they'll be able to see the video back. Like I said, if you still have any questions for the doctors, you'll be able to go on there and ask questions, and they'll be able to answer your questions. So we can kind of see, we can do your tour to see your facility.
All right. Great.
Because we're sitting in the lobby right now.
All right.
When you get, because I'm going to get a leg cramp, and I'm be like, I need some water. I got an aneurysm in my leg. I'm a hypochondriac. So.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so let's just,
all right.
let me take the, hold on. Yeah, switching to this one. Okay, so we're going to take a tour around the office. This is the lobby here.
All right.
The lobby. Okay. Follow Dr. Jerisa.
All right. So we have one of our check-in areas here, triage. We also do blood work in this area, vital signs, of course.
Blood work, vital signs. So this is kind of like when I come in.
Yes.
This is like my first step. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we also have a second triage area.
Okay, so we got
also
two.
Do vitals and blood work there.
Vitals and blood work. Okay.
Nurses station here. We have
nurses station. Looks official.
7 exam rooms. So a lot
seven exam rooms, people.
Rooms. A lot of people say from the outside it looks smaller, but
3,000
it's
square
pretty
feet.
big in here.
Yeah, it is.
This is our, we do pap smears in here, but we also see patients in here. But
So this is where they do the kitty check, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there are other rooms here, 4 and 5.
Wow.
We do, of course, we do EKGs here. We do albuterol treatments and everything. So
pretty nice. That's a lot. Y'all got to be proud of yourself.
Yeah, no something.
I mean, this is nice. This is nice. What's this back here?
So we have a separate waiting room also.
Oh, okay, another waiting room. Okay.
Another waiting room.
Another waiting room. Okay.
We have ultrasound testing over here.
Okay, ultrasound here.
And we also do allergy testing over here.
Allergy. So allergy testing. Oh, that's a neat one. Okay. So is that when you do the pricks?
This is another. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we do allergy testing here. We have a dedicated allergy medical assistant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then we have our pain treatment center.
Pain treatment. Okay.
We do injections here. We do, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have neuropathy, diabetic neuropathy, chronic pain, chronic low back pain, backpack pain. Wonders.
And the best part too is, we got a nice little comfy little.
He probably back here asleep on his side. There you go.
Oh child. Let me put on my headphones, listen to music.
Oh, that's the chair that shakes you, right? Kind of shakes
you
your rubber.
lounge in it while we're treating your lower legs for
Exactly.
for neuropathy. So.
Wow, nice. 7 rooms. We got more than 7 rooms. I think we done lost count.
7 treatment rooms, yes. And
huge.
And 2 waiting rooms. Yes.
So you have no excuse not to come.
No excuse.
No excuse not to come and check out this facility.
Yeah.
Give these doctors a round of applause. So any final words? Wait a minute, stay there. Yeah, right there. That's a good one, right there. You know what? They real silly. I just had to. So any final words for the people? Any last advice? Oh, you know what? I was trying to disconnect. Okay, here we go. All right, so, you're on the People Power Show. If you could give away any superpower, because you're powerful people. Look at Dr. Barry. He's like, what would your superpower be that you would give away? If you could give away any superpower. Wakanda. Yeah, okay.
give away a superpower?
Yes, because you already are powerful. So you got to give some people some power. So what superpower would you give away if you would give away any superpower? Look at that.
That's a tough one.
How I messed up the doctor. I didn't pass all these exams. Board certified and can't give a superpower away. Look.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
You can't have the same one as her now.
I would say for me, determination. For me, I think a lot of perseverance. You know, a lot of times we have people that, you know, have been doubting us, saying you're not going to become this, you're not going to become that. You know, you don't have the grades to this, you don't have this, do that. And, you know, you can't put a price tag on, you know, a person's determination. You know, once you know, I'm the type of person, we both the type of person, and once our mind's made up, it's not really going to stop you from trying to achieve that goal. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that, you know, just kind of keep going, keep pushing, you know.
And Jessica Thurman, Jessica, I know you're chiming in late, but they did answer your question about the HPV vaccination. So once we finish the video, which we're going to wrap it up, you can go back and check it out. But we did make sure that we answered that. So I thank you all. I know we kind of went over, you know, but I'm glad the Wi-Fi kept us going.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Yes, very informative. Thank you, people of power. The berry, I like to call them the berries. So cute, the berries. Dr. Jerisa Berry, ER, and Dr. Adam Berry. So you got to come by, see the facility, become a patient, support our own. Very, very, very important. They didn't earn their degrees just to put them on the wall. They want to help serve you all and save lives. So we are leaving now, but I thank you for joining us, and I'm sure after today you'll have a lot more patients. Wave to the people.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Come see us.
Come see